Well, a Christian community is one in which your neighbor's rights matter to you. Many of you have been keeping up with what has been happening in Alberta, Canada. Pastor James Coates of Grace Life Church has been meeting as a church, as we have been, but living in a far more soft, totalitarian government than we are. Canada fined him, arrested him, imprisoned him, released him with a warning that he was not to hold church services anymore, except according to what the law allowed. He went back to holding church services to anybody that wanted to come. Canada sent undercover church attenders into his church, found out he was still worshiping, and then issued a warrant for his arrest. And he turned himself in February 16th. And unless he agrees to hold no more church services, and he himself isn't allowed to hold them, he will be in jail until February 24th for his court hearing. That's this Wednesday, 3 days from now. Some of my wife's friends attend his church. I know that he's also made it in a few news places, but sent us the pastor's wife's updates. His wife messaged, "They tried him in secret. The officers lied to us and told us he wasn't there, and then they tried to sneak him out the back door. But in the providence of God, one of our church members was there. They pulled him away, though. The conditions of his release are that he's not allowed to pastor anymore. I cannot visit him." She messaged later, James is the pastor, James has been in an isolation in a cell block. They're quarantining him. His hearing didn't go well. He could walk if he would just set aside his God-given pastoral duties, but he can't do that. So the Crown called him a danger to the health and safety of Albertans. I read to our children the work the Lord is doing in his people through James, so they could see that the sacrifice of their father is not in vain. The health and the safety of Albertans. A newspaper quoted a government official as saying, the pastor's actions and the subsequent effects of those actions the pastor's actions and the subsequent effects that those actions could have on the health and safety of the citizens dictated our aggressive response. The health and safety of the citizens dictates, as in dictator. We live in a time when oppression is coming in the name of health and safety. And a lot of Americans and a lot of Christians are seduced by the argument. I'm sure you've heard it. It goes like this. You should set aside your rights for health and safety. Your rights are selfish. Health and safety is magnanimous. Your rights are self-seeking. But health and safety, that's worth protecting. Your rights, your religious rights, are a lack of love. But the government will show you what love looks like and make you do it. If you think that the government is loving anyone, no one in his church, in Grace Life Church, was forced to come. The building could have remained empty, and the pastor could have been there alone. But his congregation felt obliged to obey God, and so they came, as did Pastor Coates. And if you think that rights are selfish, well, you won't defend your neighbor as they lose them, and ultimately their kids, our kids, won't have them. One of the problems in all of this new seductive lie is that we think rights are personal. And we forget that in the Bible, rights means justice. Rights means justice. When you take someone's rights, you take justice from them. And the Bible has a lot to say about that. And when you don't speak up when rights are being taken away from someone, the Bible calls that withholding justice. And it's not just a sin for governors and governments, it's a sin for anyone. You shall not side with the many so as to withhold justice. Exodus 23:2. In other words, a group cannot take away the rights of anyone, and if they try, don't side with them. Or this, open your mouth. Defend the rights of the poor and needy, Proverbs 31:9. In other words, rights aren't simply personal. You speak up and defend your neighbor's rights. That's justice. Health and safety is being used aggressively in our northern neighbor and in our neighborhoods too, to take away rights. It comes with this new false dichotomy that health and safety is neighborly, but rights, those are personal and selfish. It's not a biblical distinction. Rights are doing right to my neighbor. Isaiah 1:17 even starts with this exhortation. Learn to do good, to seek justice, and to rebuke oppressors. Are you doing that? Are we doing good? Are we seeking out justice? Are we learning to rebuke oppressors? God help us to love and tremble at such words as these. And hear this from Isaiah 66:2. For all those things my hand has made, and all those things exist, says the Lord. But on this one will I look, on him who is poor and of a contrite spirit, and who trembles at my word.